Attention!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face.
So Alexis, keep talking about
Yeah, you were saying about varnishing?
Yeah, I applied
Sanding
the
the
wood
wood
fill
filler?
yesterday,
Yeah.
and then I sanded it down, right? And I literally just like laid on the floor at some point, and I cried for a little bit because I was just like, I'm just so over working on this house.
So you cried amongst the sawdust that we did.
You know, there wasn't as much sawdust. We did like a full sand like a week and a half ago, and then now it's just like finishing touches before we had set the stain.
Yeah.
Well, to apply the stain. Yeah.
Alexis,
I love how this has become a woodworking podcast.
I was just gonna ask Alexis, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean,
do you have a favorite
honestly,
joint?
Home Depot should sponsor us because I've spent enough there in the last like month for them
Alexis,
for that to be valid.
Do you have a favorite joint? Like are you a tongue and groove fan? Do you prefer the biscuit joint? Do you use glue?
You know, I'll be honest. I'm kind of new to this world, but I do have a toolbox now.
Hell yeah, dude!
You know, like
yeah.
I got my utility
man.
knife, my scraper, my flathead, screwdriver, hammer,
You're fucking-
electric drill.
You're
Wow.
well on your way to the like quirky part of your life.
Yeah,
and honestly,
1000%.
It
You know,
looks
you are-
phenomenal
to be
on
honest,
you.
Alexis,
If I just get like really snatched, I could definitely pull a Corky.
you could pull a cord. You are like, I would say you're probably realistically, you're 6, maybe 5 months away from buying a pop up. I think you're going to end up buying a pop up soon.
Do you mean like a canopy?
Yeah.
Should we do
Shut
fucking
up.
Bound
You
as
just
our
shut
Halloween
your mouth
costumes?
I think
because
so.
I was literally,
Should
I passed by them at
Here
Walmart
it
the
is.
other day,
Yeah.
and I was like, huh.
Yeah. See,
I think maybe
see, I told you,
that would have been,
5 or 6
I
months.
went to a big park for the holidays with my family, and I was like, you know what would have been great? You know, at some point, probably
Yeah.
like a canopy. I'm a dad. I am a dad.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very practical.
It's Papa Lex.
Yeah. You were.
Which is so funny because it's at such odds with how I think flamboyant I can be, you know?
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Film Majors. I'm Zach.
I'm Mick.
I'm Alexa.
And this is not, in fact, a woodworking podcast, but you know,
No.
You had me fooled.
But I,
write in.
I
Tell
have
us if you like it.
one
It
more
could
story.
be one. Please
Go
tell us
for
your
it.
story.
so I,
It tastes like
yeah,
coconut.
I just wanted to let you guys know what's up.
It is coconut.
Yep. I almost got T-boned last night.
Oh fuck!
Ooh, like consensually, or what do you mean?
No, like not in a fun way. Not in a fun way at all.
I did just hear that used that way when I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I like was coming out of a light and I just like, you know, I'd already looked and the car was pretty far away originally, but as I'm like pulling out, I realized like they're still coming very fast. And then like, I was like, not slow enough to stop before they get over here. So I just like sped up and they literally like, they slid past my bumper coming through that intersection. It was crazy.
Alexis, do me a favor, please. When this episode drops, re-listen to how you phrased every single word of that. You were coming out of the light, but you were trying to pull out fast, but it like slid. That was the most intentional innuendos.
Well, first of all, it was not intentional. That is what actually happened. I almost got fucking railed by a fucking car.
You're using the term railed now.
I'm glad you're okay.
Hey, you know that I've used that term before, and thank you, Zach. That's what I want to hear, Mick, is that, oh, that sucks. That sounds terrible.
No.
That's crazy.
That's-
I'm glad you're all right,
I hope,
Alexis.
yeah, Alexis, I honestly, you know, yeah, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. That sounds like a real slippery situation.
Oh man, I really
okay,
do encourage you to
know,
listen back.
If I hadn't have gone faster right at the opportune moment, would have been a direct hit.
Yeah,
Okay.
your pullout game's pretty strong.
Oh,
and you managed to
man.
avoid that
Thank you.
T-bone.
Thank you.
God,
It wasn't really a pull out, it was a pull to the side. But you know, great just semantics at that point. So,
Wait.
so what movies have you guys seen?
Yeah, what's going on?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, we got into it.
Okay, I'll start.
I've seen a lot of movies, so you go ahead.
I have not seen a lot of movies still. I've managed to not be watching things, which is really sad. But I did finally watch Rose Glass's Love Lies Bleeding. I liked it. However, I do think it's just like Iron Claw for me. I think it got a little overhyped. I enjoyed the criminal underbelly aspect of it, the surrealism, the campiness, the trashiness of it, the pulpiness of it, but I didn't find the narrative that strong, weirdly. It was not well paced for me.
Yeah, I remember I saw it with Drew, and he had some issues with the pacing. I personally didn't mind. I don't know, I feel like Saint Maud is also kind of that way, where it kind of takes its time in ways where you might not expect it to for the genre.
I should rewatch Saint Maud because currently I prefer that, but that's just from memory. I should rewatch it.
Yeah, I should also rewatch that. I haven't seen that since 2020, 2021.
And weirdly, like some people said that, if you don't like, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, it's not really a spoiler, just something happens. But so you get a giantess, you get a huge, tall version of, what is her name? Actress.
I'm forgetting her name. Lily
M. O'Brien, something like that.
Katie O'Brien.
Katie O'Brien. She gets really tall, and it's like not magical realism. It's kind of surrealism. Is it literal? Is it not? Doesn't really matter. But some people are like, yeah, that might lose you. That really finally pulled me in. Like that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is now really working for me.
That moment.
Yeah, the movie really came together for me in the last 15 minutes. The rest of it, weirdly, weird thing. I didn't think it was sexy.
Interesting.
It was sexy. I didn't think it was sexy enough, and I didn't think it was violent enough. I was expecting some because people were comparing it to Cronenberg and stuff, so I was expecting some fucking nearly X-rated things. I didn't get it. I think it was just my own expectations.
Just more just the spotlight on body, how detailed it is, I guess, because you can see the muscles pump up, the veins pump out, and it's kind of ASMR-y.
Yeah, I did enjoy how it showed, just how ungodly attractive it is to be that fit, but at the same time the grotesqueness of it.
Yeah, that
was very cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was just a little bit victim of overhype for me, but I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It's a good one. But 1,000%, I want to finish off by saying what Rose Glass does next, I will absolutely be seeing, because she is fucking swinging for the fences, and I respect the hell out of that. Yeah, and I liked a lot of the choices she made.
So, speaking of new releases, we received an email that was the producer of an indie horror movie called Easter Bloody Easter reaching out to us to see if we wanted to discuss it on the podcast. And they sent us a screener, and I watched the movie.
Oh, did you?
I did.
How was it?
I don't want to be unkind to scrappy indie filmmakers,
but you're going to power through,
because I myself have done some scrappy indie filmmaking very recently, and making any sort of a movie is very impressive.
Right.
I did not particularly care for Easter Bloody Easter. I think that my central issue with it is I feel like when you have an incredibly goofy horror premise, your actors need to commit really hard to selling that bit.
Right.
Because essentially what you have is a giant bunny killing people, which, on paper, I'm intrigued. But I think when your cast kind of feels like they're treating it as a joke, it kind of makes the whole thing less funny.
Yeah, you're saying they need to play it straight.
Yeah, they need to play it straight because the central premise is very funny to begin with. So, yeah, I was not hugely impressed with Easter Bloody Easter, but I appreciated the screener.
Yeah, I saw your review on Letterboxd, so that's what they sent us.
Yes.
Easter Bloody Easter. Well, okay. Well, that's exciting, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out, honestly.
Check it out.
Diane Foster directed it,
yes,
right?
Diane Foster, director, star. Again, like, this is clearly
she does it all.
A scrappy crew of people pooling their resources to make something, and I do respect that. It's very fucking hard.
Okay.
But I myself did not particularly care for the movie.
Okay. You asshole.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen.
No, though, honestly, I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, well, it's in our email. We've got a screener.
The poster fucking
It's got a great poster.
Yeah, it's got a great poster.
I do hugely enjoy their poster. And
cool.
There are some fun puppets in there. It's not devoid of anything that you might dig as a horror fan, but it was not for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Diane, for sending that in. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. I also watched another new horror film.
What'd you see?
Late Night with the Devil.
How was it? Is it okay?
It was good, but it wasn't everything I hoped for.
Damn.
They definitely fucking used AI to create some, like, graphic interstitials.
How do you know that?
You can tell. You can tell based on, like, the twisty ways that the hands of this skeleton in this image are. Like, no human would design it that way. Also, I believe the, like, crew fessed up to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that fucking sucks.
Okay.
And it takes you out of the immersion of what is otherwise a very, like, faithful recreation of, like, a 70s broadcast.
Right. Interesting.
But I enjoyed the movie, and I fucking ride or die for David Dastmalchian. He's one of my favorite that guys, and it's nice to get to see him, like, lead a movie that he's clearly, like, very passionate about.
Yeah.
Thought he crushed it. And, like, yeah, one of the better takes on the possession genre I've seen, which, is not usually my go-to. You need to really do something special with that to get me on board, and I thought they broadly did.
Nice.
So I would recommend Late Night with the Devil.
I'm still going to watch it, yeah. I'd like to see him as a leading man for sure.
He's awesome. But yeah, Alexis, have you seen anything? Or have you perhaps been refurbishing a house?
Varnish.
To be honest, I've mostly been refurbishing a house, but I did see one new release and
what's going
of
on?
a movie from last year. And I think I started Uncle Buck, but I haven't finished it. I've seen that. I saw that when I was a kid, though. So, like, I've seen that movie before, but I've been trying to watch it, but I was too tired the other day.
I'm smelling some Mark Wahlberg coming.
Oh, my God. How did you know?
Because you posted it on Letterboxd. Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Alexis, you watched one of my movies? What'd you think?
Arthur the King, and to be honest, like, my sister was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see this with Jackson. You should come," because for some reason he feels better about going to the theater if both of us come with him instead of just one person.
Well, that's kind of sweet.
Know. Anyways, yeah.
He doesn't like going to the theater just with you.
No, not even like super just with his mom. Like, he wants both of us to come. He wants, like, at least two people. I think he gets anxious.
Right.
So I think he feels, like, safer or something with the two of us.
Right.
Because, like, we can never convince him to go with just one or the other. Anyways, not the point. Saw Arthur the King, the dog movie. And let me tell you, dog doesn't die. But let me tell you, that movie is, like, okay, I guess. I didn't really want to go see it, to be honest. And I told my sister, I was like, I don't really expect that movie to be that great. And she was like, okay, we'll just come to keep us company. And I was like, okay. So that's how I went into this movie. And let me tell you, it did not really raise any bars. The dog was cute, but it's the dog there's a little bit of CGI.
A little bit of CGI.
Distracting.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why they do that.
We are in the era of dog CGI.
Yeah, stop doing that. It doesn't look good. And everybody likes to see a dog.
There was a Harrison Ford movie recently,
yeah,
right?
Call of the Wild. That was recently. It was 5 years ago.
Jesus. Really? That was a 2019 film?
I believe so.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think. Maybe I'm thinking of Togo, which doesn't have a CGI
They have
dog.
really good sandwiches.
Wow.
Fuck you. Alexis,
Anyway,
the dog
so-
movie.
So anyway, keep
Arthur
going.
the King, yeah.
Was he a king?
I'm like, you know, I mean, you know, Mark Wahlberg gets in there and he does his thing, but I think the motivation is, I mean, the guy wants to do this, what is it, a trip? It's like a race or something, you know? And
It's like a triathlon, right?
He just, so yeah, is that what it is?
I know,
What
I'm asking.
exactly is a triathlon?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Triathlon is like when you run.
What is a triathlon?
Yeah.
It's running, swimming, and cycling, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so this shit's crazy because it's running, swimming, no, not swimming, running, cycling, rock climbing, possibly, ziplining, possibly, kayaking at the end. Yeah, there's a lot, you know, like honestly, you have to have a pretty beefed up team to like even do this, I think.
Classic.
But, you know, which is like impressive, but like I don't know, the story was just kind of
It's based on a true story, right?
Yeah, so I mean, like, it was really cute, and I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And also, I was like, when they did have to leave the dog at one point, I was like, you can't leave that dog.
Did you cry?
But then I was also like, damn, no, I didn't cry. But my sister and my nephew teared up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think I'm just past the age for myself. I don't think it's about age. I think I'm just like past the point of being able to appreciate like a not so great dog movie. Like if you're going to be a dog movie, you have to be fucking good. Okay? That's my stipulation.
You should watch Togo.
If it's going to be a dog movie, it's got to be good. Yeah. I'm going to get around to Togo. I'm sorry, Togo. You're going to get your day in the sunshine.
The real goddamn
but
hero, Togo.
Togo, baby.
I can't get back into it. I'll get mad.
Togo.
Well, I saw 2 other movies. No, 3, but I'll save one of them for later.
Oh, side note, I did get to see part of Thanksgiving, the movie from last year.
What'd you think?
Yeah. I only got to see like a part of the last third or last quarter of the movie, and that shit's wild. I think dare I say, am I becoming an old maid? Because I was like, this shit might be too violent for me.
Oh, boy. Uh-oh.
Alexis, you're about to have a rough time in October, buddy. You shouldn't have told me that.
It was like 8 in the morning. I came over to my sister's house with coffee. My nephew is on fucking vacation, and he has fucking Thanksgiving on just as his fucking like little treat in the morning at like 8 a.m. And I was like,
absolutely.
You're crazy, dude.
100% relate to
I was
that.
like, could you turn it down?
I went and saw that movie.
Channel or something.
You whippersnapper, I'm trying to varnish these floors, and you're watching this violent crap on the TV?
It was crazy though. He fucking like took a fucking like meat pulverizer and like bashed someone's head in, and I was like, oh
Man, you're kind of
I'm
making
like,
me want to watch Thanksgiving tonight. I might throw that on. I watched that at 9:15.
Are you fine? So you're getting too much violence, huh?
Yeah, you know, I used to, you know, my sister Natalie has always loved things that are like even more ultra-violent than what even I could ever stomach. Like she loved like Hostel and Saw, you know.
Hostel's pretty good.
And I like I like some of them, you know, but like not all of them. Sometimes it is too much for me because I'm just like, I don't want to see people suffer like that.
Oh, God.
Do you smell that? That's blood in the water. Get ready for October, Alexis.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one.
I'm coming for you.
Shit, you don't even need to wait till October. Just wait till boat month.
Oh shit!
It's not gonna be good.
Well, the 2 other movies that I saw are in honor of the new Doug Liman directed Jake Gyllenhaal starring Roadhouse. I watched the 1989 version of Roadhouse.
I really like that movie.
It fucking slaps. That movie
love
rules.
that movie. It's so good. Yeah.
I can't believe I hadn't watched that up until now. That movie's
fantastic.
insane.
Yeah.
That is a fucking insane.
I gotta watch it because I also saw part of the new Roadhouse and I was like, what the fuck is up with this? I gotta watch the old
There's
one.
a point in the original Roadhouse, I'd say towards the end of Act 2.
Yeah.
Where it kind of feels like, okay, this kind of feels like it's slowing down. Like, where are we gonna go from here? And the answer is like to some of the most insane shit you've ever. Just the premise of that movie is wild. It's like there's a secret network of bouncers. Like who's the most badass bouncer? Everyone knows it's Dalton.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that movie's so good.
Do they? Why? It's a crazy fucking movie. I really enjoyed it. Also, shouts out to fucking Dean Cundy, the man of the 80s, who shot Roadhouse as well as The Thing, Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Big Trouble in Little China. I feel like there are a few DPs who have defined what I think of as like the look of a decade more than Dean Cundy defines the 80s. I really enjoyed Roadhouse.
That's
I thought it was
movie.
a blast.
Yeah.
Also, the fucking line where the like angry twink who Swayze's fighting.
Right.
It's like they're like scrapping around, and then he grabs him and he goes, "I used to fuck guys like you in prison." It's like, you can't say that. That's insane.
That's great.
That's insane. And then he rips his throat out like MacGruber.
Fantastic.
I feel like MacGruber straight up did get the throat ripping thing from Roadhouse.
I just love the fat dude that's just always there.
Yeah,
He's just I just love it. I just love seeing him getting thrown around.
Anyways, if you want to watch a movie that makes like no sense but is pretty fun and has two cast members of the movie we're talking about today, check out Roadhouse.
Did you see the new one?
No.
Okay.
I need to.
I've
I'll
seen
be honest.
parts of it.
I'll be honest with you. So I like Doug Liman.
I do, and I like Jake Gyllenhaal.
I could take it or leave it. The part that honestly has me a little like, am I going to watch that? Is I've seen clips of Conor McGregor.
He's wild. That's the parts that I did see was parts with Conor McGregor because it was on like twice at my work.
Yeah, it looks
he's wild,
appropriately over the top bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want a Roadhouse remake to take
really
itself
committed
seriously.
to his role.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I'm not sure that I really love the movie. I think it's a little thin, but like he really did commit to just being fucking crazy.
Yeah, the thing is though, you watch Conor McGregor just exist like in real life.
Yeah, and you're like, this guy's a maniac.
That's just him. Like he is just a fucking psycho.
Also, that dude walks incredibly funny.
Yeah, he does.
Which, you know,
he
that's,
does.
Should I be saying this publicly? Yeah.
What?
Conor McGregor, you walk funny, buddy.
Great. Did you see what him and his Irish gang did to like? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's a scary man, and I'm frightened of him.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I kind of want to watch the movie just to see him be this fucking bonkers.
Well, speaking of people who can fight real good, the last movie that I watched was Police Story 2.
Oh, nice. I've never seen it.
Boring.
Oh, really?
It was boring, and I didn't like it. What the hell?
Damn.
Boring Jackie Chan movie.
Sorry.
You can't make a boring movie, Jackie. What the fuck?
Huh.
It's like
doesn't have the action, huh?
There's some good action.
Right.
Like obviously, there's a lot of people getting lit on fire.
Is there too much story involved?
There's not enough comedy. They kind of get rid of the comedic element that makes Police Story so fucking delightful. I was amped. I was really ready to enjoy a Jackie Chan film, and then didn't deliver.
Tragic.
Well, folks, you heard it here. Jackie Chan sucks.
That's not what I'm saying.
So out.
Yeah, that's who I'm. Let's call out Conor McGregor and Jackie Chan in the same episode. Both of you guys, you're bad. I could take him.
I never said that Conor McGregor was bad. I said that
I'm pretty sure I heard you say
We
Conor
all
McGregor's
said it.
bad.
We all said it.
Yeah.
I said he walked funny. I agreed that he walks funny.
Yeah, you walk funny, you dork.
That's fucked up.
I'm still on my dad's insurance right now, so I'm taking some risks.
You know what's great? Okay, this is dangerously close to sound like the Joe Rogan podcast, which I do not listen to. But have you seen Conor McGregor fight?
Jamie, can we pull up that vid?
Yeah. Have you seen him fight?
Jamie, you have the clip?
His pose literally is the fighting leprechaun. Have you noticed that? His stance. And it's great because he's a great fighter and it works.
It's great. It's good. And no one's coming after you, Conor McGregor. And nobody's making fun of you.
My mascot in high school, we were the Fighting Irishmen. And we had the leprechaun standing there with like his fists up, like in a fisticuffs. And he has this stance where he's kind of doing the splits a little bit.
Why did you say you were the Fighting Irishman? My dad continually calls you an Irishman because your name is Mick. And every time I'm like, he's not. Your school was the Irishman, motherfucker. Don't give him fuel.
Yeah, the jokes were endless. Damn. I'll tell you what. But
I know that we keep railing on Conor McGregor for some reason, but I'm not joking. Like, I think it's much, whatchamacallit? You know how like you see somebody come from like a different like discipline and they come and try acting, and sometimes it's like, oh, they're just like not really giving that much, you know?
Yeah,
right.
I respect that he fucking just like went full Monty with it, you know, because I think that his character doesn't work unless he's a little out there.
Wait, he does a full Monty?
No, I was just using it as like a.
He got his dick out?
I was going to say.
Because if he has his dick out,
he was naked. And like just like, oh, I think it was like he fucked some lady and then her husband came home, so then he beat the shit out of the guy, and then he just walked out of the house naked and was like. And then he was just like walking around like doing his Conor McGregor strut, which I don't even know what that is, but my boss, he watches those games, so he was like, yeah, this. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Okay, Alexis, you have pretty successfully sold me on the new Roadhouse. I might be watching
psycho. Honestly, yeah, I like his.
To be honest, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal looks good.
Jake Gyllenhaal, he look good?
Like, he look good. Yeah.
Yeah, out of all of the like MMA or WWE people that have like crossed over into acting, you know, I think Dave Bautista's my favorite.
Probably. I mean,
he's great.
There's always going to be a soft spot in my heart for Roddy Piper.
Oh, yes. Okay, no, that's a good one. That's a really good pick.
Well, yeah. Oh, no, because he's great in Sunny, too.
As
the maniac.
Well, he's perfect in Sunny. Yeah.
Is he eating chestnuts?
Yeah. I also really like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm always happy when he shows up.
What has he been in?
He's in. He was in the first Expendables movie.
All right.
He's in a couple other action flicks. You know, he's good. He's a good time.
Do we have anything else about this?
He's a Texan that's like kind of liberal.
Okay, cool. Good for him.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody?
Don't think so.
All right. Well,
let's step out.
Yeah, let's hop out on what's going on.
Out of all of my adult friends, I think you're the only one that owns a drill. And
really?
Yeah.
I've owned a drill for like years, though.
That's what I mean. The fact
that
you're shocked right now says a lot about you. I think within 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised if you build a canoe.
And we're back.
You're fucking funny.
No,
you're funny.
You would, though. She would build a canoe.
I would love to see an Alexis build canoe. I would love to
see an Alexis build a canoe.
So
are you subscribed to Popular Mechanics?
I have no purpose for a canoe. I'm not an outdoor person like that.
It would be a birthday gift for Mick.
Oh my god.
For boat month.
Yeah, Alexis is going to fucking craft you a birthday gift.
Years and years.
God.
No, honestly though, listeners, you
know how long it would take me to build a fucking canoe?
I know, and it would be a really lovely gift that I think would be really thoughtful. And I thank you in advance.
You can't ask for a birthday gift.
God. Listeners, they haven't seen her in action, but have you seen her whittle?
Wow. And we're into a new themed month, everybody.
Yeah.
We're out of musical month.
Oh, I am sad.
Tragic.
I'm
tragic.
You know, I'm okay with it.
I'm not ready to let it go. I've been listening to so many more musicals.
Have you?
In my car.
Like what?
like the last 5 years. I don't know, just the different things.
Well, we're talking about another storied Hollywood genre, and that is comedy. It's a film major's April Fool's.
It is that's right. We're back.
We're back.
We're revisiting the month.
Is this our first revisited month of the year? I think it kind of is.
Well,
I mean, we did year in review, but it was a different year in review.
It's true. No, yeah, this is the first. No, that's not true. We did Spooktober.
Well, no, I'm saying this year. This calendar year.
Oh, this calendar year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'll give this
I was trying to make it sound special.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I mean, last year we covered Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
We covered Game Night.
Yeah. Good one.
That was a good one.
If you haven't seen Game Night, you should watch Game Night.
If
it's
you
a good
haven't
movie.
seen Game Night, you don't need to. Just listen to our episode.
Or, watch the movie and then listen to our episode.
Ours is better.
Great.
Just listen to us, subscribe it.
Anyways, we're here with our first big topic of the month.
Yes.
And what I would like to discuss
what are
some of the best stoner movies? These are either films about a stoner or films that you might enjoy while you're stoned. I will accept either answer.
I'll tell you what right now. I have a good one.
Oh,
this
let her
isn't
fly.
strictly a stoner. There is weed smoking that happens in it, for sure.
Okay.
But this is a movie that I used to be a hardcore stoner, I'd say from like 18 to 19. It's funny to use hardcore and stoner in the same sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty mellow experience.
It's a mellow core.
Yeah.
But on repeat, I think every night after school, when I was going to community college, I had this big bong. What do they call those? The lung busters or something like that.
The ones that are too big, the ones that are unreasonable.
Yes, the big.
Yeah.
I had a big bong. I would load that up with like a really strong weed, and I would smoke the shit out of it. And without fail, I would always put on
just like an undercover cop. I don't believe you.
And
it had a strong weed, and it was a big bong.
Weed with a large bong. But it was big enough so you didn't get any of that splash. Because you don't want that. You don't want the splash.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would watch.
I'm starting to believe that you smoke weed.
Is I would always watch Jackie Brown. That is a great movie to watch stoned. Because it's a chill movie. Because I think stoner movies have to be a hangout film.
I tend to agree with that.
And that's it's a great one because it has a good, strong story. So, it kind of keeps, and it's also good. I think
it's a good movie.
I think, yeah, I'm of the opinion, at least personally, back when I used to smoke a lot of weed, that for me to really enjoy it, it has to be a good film. Because it's hard for me to really get invested in a bad movie when I'm stoned because all I'm thinking about is just how fucking bad this is. It has to be a good film. And Jackie Brown, I think, is one of the best Tarantino films ever made.
Good pick. I like it.
Alexis, have you seen Jackie Brown? Do you have any retort, any response?
I have seen Jackie Brown. That's definitely not my idea of a stoner movie, but
what's your idea of a stoner movie, Alexis?
Tell us.
Hard to say. There was this one movie from like it came out when I was in high school, I think, called The House Bunny with Anna Faris.
One of your favorites.
That's right. I feel like it actually was. I changed my voicemail for like years in high school to, instead of the mahi, can I just get the one mahi because I'm not that hungry? And that's what my voicemail message was before, and then it would just be
that was your.
It's a line from the movie.
That was
That's
your
fucking wild. Greeting? I love it.
That was my voicemail for like, I don't know, between the ages of probably like 16 to like 18 before like I got like an actual job.
I was going to say, if you were applying for jobs, I would love to be the employer that like tried to call you back because they got your resume and it went to voicemail.
Well, my first job I ever got was a referral from my sister. So I didn't technically like interview for that job. Nice. So
cool.
Elaborate voicemail prank.
You know what? You know the one I had for the longest time when I used to want to be an actor is I did the trailer voice You've reached the phone of Mick Mignai. He cannot come to the phone right now. Yeah, it was awful. It was absolutely, it was disgusting. Yeah.
I don't think I ever really had like a funny voicemail.
You never had a funny one?
Maybe I did. I just don't remember what it would have been.
Okay. So none of us are the type of person that left a voicemail greeting. It's like, hello?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hi.
No, I might have.
Got your ass.
No, I did do that.
Of course you did, because you're that person.
Yeah, that's me. You're right.
Yeah,
okay.
there it is.
Yeah, that
There's
definitely
always one.
seems like something you would
Walter
do,
White.
Zach.
You got me. Yeah, exactly.
LOL.
But
I mean, I feel like Obvi Pineapple Express, though.
Well, of course.
Okay. I mean, the works of Mr. Seth Rogen throughout the like mid to late 2000s and early 2010s.
Yeah, that's a great one.
One of the stoned experiences going to the movies that I remember the most was going to see Sausage Party, a movie that I am terrified to revisit.
I've still never seen it.
I've
never seen that
fucking
movie.
loved it at the time, but I just have a sense that it hasn't aged well since 2016. But I saw that movie, I think 3, maybe 4 times in theaters because I was just getting high and going with different groups of friends.
Yeah.
Being like, man, you got to see this shit, man. That's some funny shit.
Right.
But there was one time I went with my friends Darius, I think Sage, and our roommate Jacoby. And I was 17 at the time. The other guys were a bit older, and Jacoby was 16. And we were all very high, and we were trying to figure out how to sneak Jacoby into the movie. And we were like, okay, just go. No, you just got to buy a ticket to a different one. And then we're going to go in and you just meet us over there. And Jacoby was like, but where do I stand? And it's just like everyone was too high to formulate a plan.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer and closer to the box office. And we're like, oh, fuck, we're just going to blow this. And then we look in the box office. And who is running it but our friend Michael, who did theater with us. And he takes one look at us. And he was kind of like a straight edge, like Christian kid.
Yep.
And he goes, you guys going to see Sausage Party?
Of course.
And he sold us tickets. And it was a magical event. So I absolutely stand by, basically any of those early Point Grey movies will hit if you're stoned.
Yeah.
There was one oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, because you were talking about movies where it's like, you're like, I'm afraid to go back and watch it because like, I feel like it probably hasn't aged well.
Yep.
But there was this movie called Dude, Where's My Car with Ashton Kutcher
That one.
from like the early 2000s. And I'm sure it has not aged well, but that always seemed to me like a kind of like, if I was getting high at the time that I had seen it, like if I was of that age when that movie had come out, I think that would have been like a stoner movie.
Nice.
It's really dumb for sure. Like,
Right.
Yeah. There was one movie that I used to watch when I smoked most of the weed that I smoked in like late high school. Have either of you ever seen Mac and Devin Go to High School?
No.
no.
I believe
I don't
it's
think so.
Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa.
No, I've never seen
It is a terrifying film.
that. Okay.
It's got a little like anthropomorphic joint that tells you when to smoke.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you, that movie was different every time I watched it.
Yeah.
I truly could not tell you the events that happened, but the movie talking to you when you're high,
Right.
I'd argue that's actually a bad stoner movie. It's something you don't want. It's frightening.
Right.
It frightened me.
Wow.
It frightened me every time.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't
You don't
huge.
like that movie?
I wasn't
No.
huge on it.
No, it's just so over the top.
My first roommate that I ever had, she loved that movie like a lot. She loved that guy, Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah,
she read his stuff. Like she was very into it. And so I saw that movie like multiple times, like during the time that I like lived with her. And I think I'd seen it like before then too, just like one time. But I kind of like it. I kind of like the over the top because I think it is kind of, I don't know, like I'm like, I'm not going to say something on air about, things that I've done in the past, but like when like,
Why?
like a trip has started to go south and things just started getting like that weird wonky.
So when you've done drugs and it started to go, I live here. I'm not going to say what I've done, but when I'm on a trip,
when I'm going on a little trip, and maybe you get a little lost.
When I'm going to the varnish
maybe
store,
you haven't brought enough snacks.
We were all young once, right?
Alexis, I continue to be confounded with your hesitance to oust yourself in any way on this show. Like it doesn't matter.
Well,
I'll be honest with you.
So
I am a little bit worried about the skeletons in your closet because, like, man, like I feel like Zach and I, we just fucking say shit.
That's true.
But every time I look at you and you're like, don't say it, do not say it. And, like, there's something in your past.
Alexis
like,
killed Jimmy Hoffa.
I think you killed somebody.
I don't know. I feel like generally a good solid comedy hits well when you're stoned. The other one that I feel like I used to watch a lot was Tropic Thunder, which is just a damn good movie.
That's another really good one.
But in terms of...
I'm not really into Tropic Thunder, to be honest.
What?
Gasp.
Really?
Gasp.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I like didn't watch it until like maybe like a few years ago for the first time. So maybe it just like the timing passed me.
Possibly.
Interesting.
Oh man, I love that movie.
Another really good one is True Romance.
I don't think I ever... No, actually, I probably was smoking weed when I watched True Romance.
Yeah, that's a good...
See, I always watched TV shows when I was high.
Well,
I think I watched more TV shows when I was a stoner than in the last, like, probably, like, 10 years.
Yeah, I feel like I watched a lot of
What was a
movies
show
when
that
I
you
was...
watched a lot when you were high?
I mean, like, Rick and Morty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a little Adventure Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all tracks.
Real quick, I just want to bring up one film that stars a stoner, which I think is pretty solid, which is Inherent Vice.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a Harrison Ford movie. He is a fucking stoner.
We're talking about real life stoners.
Yeah.
But no, Inherent Vice pulls a similar gambit to the movie that we're going to be talking about today, where you have a detective who is just blazed out of his fucking gourd and cannot make sense of the mystery he is trying to solve.
Yeah.
Which brings us to, if we would like...
I think we should go right into it. I think we should talk about...
The Big Lebowski.
1998, directed by... I never noticed this. Directed by Joel Coen.
Yeah, that was back during the, like, weird DGA times where they were, like, super against directing teams. It took a long time for the Coens to get credited together.
Because you watch some of the... Yeah, right there, Alexis.
Totally fine.
All right. So you watch some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's definitely directed by Joel and Ethan Coen. And according to Google, Jeff the Dude Lebowski is mistaken for Jeffrey Lebowski, who is the Big Lebowski, which explains why he's roughed up and has his precious rug peed on. In search of recompense, the dude tracks down his namesake, who offers him a job. His wife has been kidnapped and he needs a reliable bagman. Aided and hindered by his pals Walter Subcheck, a Vietnam vet, and Donnie, master of stupidity.
Oh, fucking leave Donnie alone.
That's dumb.
That's fucking editorializing.
That's not very nice. That's not a very nice thing to say at all, Google. But let's start it, folks. If I may, I'd like to start her out. This was my pick for to start us off with Comedy Month because it is a film that I find to be endlessly quotable. I I find myself quoting this movie quite often when I'm working on set. Anytime I hear someone with the last name Johnson, I just go off about cutting off your Johnson.
We cut off your Johnson.
Yeah, then we stomp on it and squish it. My relationship to this film is interesting. So back in high school, there was a friend of mine who was obsessed with this movie. I'm talking like freshman of high school, and he was so obsessed about. He didn't have a really great lifestyle. I'm not going to say who it was. Let's call him Fred. He was the type of person that needed to model his personality off of characters of his favorite content, and he loved John Goodman's Walter Sobchak.
Oh my God, not the dude to model yourself off.
Yeah. So in this guy, my friend in high school, Fred, he was kind of short, kind of fat, definitely super. He was like a power lifter. He deadlifted and all this kind of shit. And he used to he used to pop like the smelling salts all the fucking time. He's fucking wacky. And he would smoke cigarettes. He was the only high schooler that was fucking smoking cigarettes.
Popping smelling salts?
Yeah. Yeah. He got me into that shit.
Jesus Christ.
Great stuff, by the way.
All right. Well,
What?
And anyway, so he just kept quoting this fucking movie, and I didn't know what it was from. He would just look at me and he'd go, "A world of pain, you're entering a world of pain." And I'm like, what are you taught? What is this? He's like, "Hey man, this is not Nom. There are rules."
this guy seems very annoying.
Yes. Well, the funny thing is that the Coen Brothers wrote Walter off of someone who they knew is exactly like that, and I've always loved that story. Like, oh, I knew someone exactly like that too. But then,
Yeah, you gave him fuel.
you gave him the whole thing. But then more and more people in high school started talking about this movie Lebowski. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna watch it, and I watched it, and I didn't like it. I didn't get it. I thought it was weird. Funny, but it's just like, what the fuck is all this about? This is just dumb. This is stupid. Like, I don't get the humor in this. But after I watched it, I kept thinking about the bowling sequences and the dialogue. And I don't think there's ever been a movie that has gnawed at my brain the way Lebowski did when I first saw this all the way back in freshman year of high school. Because then I revisited it, and then I watched it again, and I watched it again, and I watched it again. And before I knew it, I was like obsessed with this movie. And I credit this movie as having been kind of like the first film to alter my palate as a film fan and begin to appreciate the quirky and the offbeat comedy, kind of like more subtext stuff and more sophisticated type humor. Because I do think that you have to be somewhat of a sophisticate to kind of appreciate how just hilarious this film is. And I think that you can apply that to a lot of Coen Brothers films. But yeah, up until this, I kind of took movies at surface level, and it was just that. If it was cool and flashy, I liked it. But Lebowski, I honestly think, started to make me more interested in independent cinema.
Interesting. Alexis, what's your relationship to The Big Lebowski?
If I recall correctly, I didn't see it until like after high school at some point, but probably sometime after like 2014, 2015. I don't even know when I watched it, but I don't think I was very into it. And to be honest, I fell asleep before the ending.
And how do you feel now?
Well, I find it kind of boring. I don't know.
See,
I don't really enjoy.
That was me
I don't really
freshman
enjoy
year
the
in high
Big
school.
Lebowski, like, huh?
What you're describing was me freshman year of high school, where I was just like, I just think it sounded boring. It's kind of dull.
Yeah,
What's the big
but
fucking fuss?
I mean, I've seen a lot of the Coen Brothers movies, and this is just my least favorite one.
That's a hot take.
Wow.
That's a
Yeah. I mean, my
steaming
favorite
hot
one is
take.
Inside Llewyn Davis. So
That's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I really love that movie.
this
It's
is
also the first time I
This
ever
is
saw
a
Adam
better
Driver.
movie.
So
This is a better movie.
I've had Inside Llewyn Davis at the top of my Coen's list for periods of time. The Coen Brothers are like some of the filmmakers who I find it like kind of the most pointless to like make a ranked list of it, at least for me, because you catch
very different.
Yeah, and you catch me on like any given day, and I will probably give you a different answer as to which of their movies is my favorite, because there are so many that I think are just so spectacular.
Like, I would say that like A Serious Man that I also saw in the last like few years and The Big Lebowski are the ones that like I don't really feel the need to rewatch personally.
Really?
A Serious Man is my number one. That's the one
Serious
that I
Man
have
is
at the
hilarious.
That's the one that I have at the top
like,
of my Coen's list.
Like, what's so funny is that, like, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but I would probably rewatch this movie as Intolerable Cruelty. I saw that in theaters with my dad. It's just kind of like a kind of zany, like, going every which way, like, marriage and divorce kind of story. To me, it was really fun when I saw it.
I grew up, that movie was played in my house far more than The Big Lebowski was, Intolerable Cruelty, which is amazing because my mom cannot stand Catherine Zeta-Jones. But
that's crazy.
No, that is crazy.
There's always
I
exceptions.
completely agree with that. That's crazy. But that's a movie that I've actually been afraid to rewatch because I feel like it
might not be as good.
I know it wouldn't be as good because it's like a movie of theirs I have not seen is The Lady Killers.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it's kind of like their mainstream attempt at comedy. That's very much Intolerable Cruelty. It's their, I would call it the closest you're going to get to like cookie cutter Coen Brothers, but it is still very dark. There's still dark humor in there. Like people will just die on a dime.
I think it's kind of funny, I don't know, like how far Catherine Zeta, I don't know, how dramatic they are is kind of fun. I'm also kind of worried to rewatch that movie too, though.
Well, hey, let's all get together. I've never seen it.
It has a good soundtrack, though.
I know. I was even thinking, like, while I was, like, watching this, I was like, God, they do have so many good movies. They'd be such a fun director to just, like, maybe have a few picks for, like, a month or something someday.
Well, this is our first Coen Brothers.
Yeah, this is the first time we're talking the Coens on this podcast.
So, but Zach, what's the Big Lebowski mean to you?
So I had a similar experience with it to you, Mick.
Yeah.
I think I saw it for the first time on a plane in my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And I was also kind of like, this is kind of boring. And I don't think I revisited it until college, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I might not have revisited it until like 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
And when I watched it a second time, I was like, oh, okay, this clicks. This is one of those movies to me that is the mark of like a masterpiece in my view, where I am looking forward to every scene in this movie. And this is something I was watching some like interviews with the cast and the directors, and something that Jeff Bridges brought up in, I think it was his GQ interview, is he doesn't really like to rewatch his own movies. And I think a lot of actors are like that. And he's like, yeah, and I'll channel surf, man. And then if I hit the Big Lebowski though, I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna watch to the bit where Goodman pulls the gun out, and then he's like, oh well, okay. Now I'm just gonna watch till Turturro licks the ball, and before you know it, I'm sitting on my couch. I've watched the whole dang thing. Yeah. I do look forward to every single scene in this movie because it's. Like it's
John
so
Turturro.
iconic.
He's so good.
Turturro is insane in this movie.
Yeah.
He's so funny. Of the whole movie, I think his character is like the only thing that like I'm laughing out loud at.
You pull any of your crazy shit with us, you flash your piece out, I'll pull it away from you, stick it up your ass, and pull the trigger till it goes click.
Jesus.
You said it, man. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
Oh my God, that shit is just so funny.
So for me, I think that my MVP performance of this movie is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Really?
Brant is so funny to me.
Yeah, he's a hilarious.
I watched this movie twice this week. I adhered to a strict drug regimen to keep my mind limber.
Nice.
In that I watched it sober once and then I watched it stoned once.
Nice.
And I don't really smoke weed.
Yeah.
but I do when I watch The Big Lebowski. And
Yeah.
just his reactions to things and just what a little fucking snot-nosed
Brant.
sycophant he is,
Yeah.
are so funny to me. The face that he's making when the Big Lebowski is crying and he's like in reaction, like making this weird little grimace until he's talked to and he immediately snaps out of it, kills me. The bit where Bunny says that she'll blow the dude
for $1,000.
Yeah, I'll suck your cock. Yeah, and then she's like, Brent can't watch though, or it's another 100. And then he just goes, "That's marvelous.
That's marvelous. That's good.
It's such a committed performance, and also features, I think, the only time I've ever seen Philip Seymour Hoffman break in a movie. There's a bit where he's in the car. It's after the dude gets pulled into the limo by the Big Lebowski because he fucked up the drop.
Yeah.
And the Big Lebowski is like screaming something at the dude, and there's just a little moment where you can see Philip Seymour Hoffman like stifle a laugh.
I love that scene so much. Jeff Bridges in that scene where he's in the limo he's giving the performance of a fucking lifetime. It's the definition of gibberish. What in God's name are you blathering about? Like, if you've noticed, the dude does not once ever complete a sentence or a thought in this film. I dare you to watch it.
So cool.
He
A lot
not
of
once.
ins, a lot of outs.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of what
might have
have
occurred
yous.
to you, man, that like shit. You know,
She kidnapped herself, man.
didn't that occur to you? You know, it's so good. And honestly, like going back to how it affected me in high school and how it kind of opened my mind to new movies. The other one that we have never reviewed on this movie on this podcast is Pulp Fiction. And it was Pulp Fiction and The Big Lebowski that I think opened up my mind. Because again, before that, movies were action, spectacle, emotion. That's all what it meant. But the movies that made me realize that when a script and a cast is firing on all fucking cylinders, when the dialogue and the troupe of actors are just in this organic synergy that is just so palpable, it was Pulp Fiction and The Big Lebowski that made me realize the power of a really, really good screenplay in really, really good actors. Because it's just so good. The scene when they're in the bowling lanes, you think I know it's an old cliche at this point, but you think that is improvised dialogue. But like when John Goodman just cuts himself off mid-sentence, so like, I'm not... By the way, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature. Asian American, please. Like, he doesn't... The way they're acting is so realistic, and when you cut yourself off with your latest thought, and it's just so impressive.
Yeah, well, that's something that Jonah Hill talked about working on Hail Caesar with the Coens, is like he likes to improvise, and the Coens are very much like, you need to be word perfect on our scripts.
Yeah.
You
know why? Because also for the beginning of their career, they edited a lot of their stuff their own.
Okay.
So like, I mean, like, don't you remember how hard it was to like match things if people don't say things the same way?
It's a nightmare.
It's very hard.
Yeah, I think sometimes directors' brains work a little differently when they've either come from acting or they're also an editor, like there's different ways that like they work because of like either what area they are also in or have come from.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. The other background that at least I know Ethan Coen comes from is philosophy. He majored in philosophy, and we've talked a lot about how we're all film majors,
Right.
But what we haven't really discussed up to this point is that I did, in fact, pick up a minor when I was at Humboldt State.
Oh, I hardly know her.
Oh my God! And that was I don't like you.
You did that on purpose.
No,
You phrased it that poorly on purpose.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
blew it.
I picked up a minor while I... Really? Come on, man.
I minored in ethical philosophy when we were at Humboldt State. And this is a very philosophically rich film, so much so that I am in possession of a book called The Big Lebowski and Philosophy. There are many people who have talked about the dude as sort of a Zen type figure, as he kind of accepts the trials of life and is, he's a pacifist. He's kind of like
Buddhist.
that. Yes, he's kind of like that tumbling tumbleweed in the opening of the film, allowing life to blow him whichever way and not becoming full of rage as Walter is. But as I was reading the Big Lebowski and Philosophy, there was one. It's a collection of essays, and there was one that I particularly enjoyed, which was Epicurus and Contented Poverty, The Big Lebowski as an Epicurean Fable. Mm-hmm. It's by Morgan Rempel.
Yeah.
And it's essentially listen, I'm not gonna claim her thoughts as my own. You gotta shout her out. But essentially she wrote an entire article about how The Big Lebowski is a really good example of Epicurean philosophy, which is a philosophical system which one of the goals is the overall reduction of one's desires and the focusing of one's remaining desires on the simple, necessary, and easily attainable.
Yeah.
And that the dude is such he is an admirable figure as someone who I feel like I have a tendency to maybe get a little worked up about stuff.
Yeah.
That perhaps doesn't matter too much. The dude is someone I'd like to strive to be more like.
I've noticed that I honestly on the last watch for this show, when I was watching it, I noticed how he's not stressed out about the stuff that would freak me the fuck out. Like when he comes home and his house has absolutely been torn apart. Furniture has been disassembled. Like everything is just all torn to shit. And he trips over the wood floor that he himself nailed in the ground. And he just looks at it and he looks around. And then there she is. Maud. And she just like,
Another fucking great performance.
Another great performance by Julianne Moore. She just drops her. And I love it. I've never caught it before. This is one of those movies that you watch it so many times and you catch lines you've never heard before. He just goes, "That's my robe." That's it. His house is destroyed, but that's my robe. Love me, Lebowski. And he's not fussed. It's just like, and also like making rent. Like, what does he do? Where does his income come from?
He literally says, "I'm unemployed."
I'm unemployed. Like,
he writes a check for 69 cents.
Yeah. And it's just, but what's fascinating about that is like, I catch myself so caught up in, the rat race of trying to make money and to trying to network and get more jobs and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and all the stressors that come from that. And then watching this movie recently, I really appreciated how he has so little and he's so content. He goes home, he's not married, he's not dating anyone, he does well enough. He gets laid every now and then, I'm sure. We see it in the film. He just makes himself a white Russian. He goes bowling. He smokes some weed. He listens to Creedence. Content. He listens to his Creedence tapes.
I have never seen a person more content than when the dude is driving his car, drinking a beer, and smoking a J and listening to Creedence Clearwater. Creedence Clearwater, Jesus.
Yeah. That's such a funny scene. Okay.
Let me
I love the thing between him and the cops, and they're like, and the Credence.
Which one?
Which bit?
How they keep bringing up the Credence. That's it.
Okay.
He's like, but
you want to talk about there are no small parts, only small actors. That redheaded cop is so funny when he's like, he's also like. My rug, got stolen. He's like, "Oh, your rug was in the car." No, like earlier. Separate incidents. Like he's actually.
Yeah, he seems very
and his
like
partner
genuinely concerned.
Is so fucking annoyed. Like God, like he's rolling his eyes at his like he cannot stand his partner, and then Maud leaves a voicemail like, "My name is Maud. I'm the one that took the rug," and then the beeps and he goes, "Well, we can close the case on that one." Like he's so like this man. He may be a beat cop. He wants to be a detective. Like that shit. It's so fucking funny to me.
He's still got a star in his eye about his job, you know?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that so fucking much. But yeah, no, I mean, this movie, I think out of any movies we've covered, I think is the one that you could arguably say actually created a religious movement.
Yeah, dudism.
Like this, funny enough, I was going to pitch like ideas for movies that actually started a religion.
Like, I can only think of two.
Like in real life. What's the other one?
Star Wars.
Is that a religion?
Technically, yeah.
Ugh,
that's
so sad.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, this
is all news to me. I did not know about.
Yeah, there's like a Church of the Force or something.
See, that's just nerds being stupid.
The Big Lebowski's
No, but
cool.
think about it. What you mentioned with philosophy, that Dudism, like people actually take it somewhat seriously because
this movie is a philosophically
to be honest,
very
I relate
rich
to him
text.
quite a bit.
You relate to the dude.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, like, when I almost got T-boned last night, all I did was, like, finish driving home and then just, like, sit down and, like, put on, like, a couple episodes of a TV show and, like, eat my french fries and think, did I just hallucinate that or did, like, that happen?
Yeah. Almost got T-boned, so I finished my beer.
Fuck it. Let's go bowling.
Finished driving home. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go bowling, dude.
Yeah, there are so many good little like axioms and words of wisdom in this movie.
Which
the
is
dude
funny
abides.
because it's also very.
Sometimes you eat the bar. Sometimes the bar eats you.
Okay, a saying that he has in this that I honestly want to start using is, "Hey,
You want
Lebowski."
to become that annoying guy from your high school.
No, I just the bit where they're like, "Hey, Lebowski, like, how's life been?" And he's like, "Yeah, you know, strikes and gutters, you know,
It ebbs and flows.
strikes and gutters."
No, I noticed that line too.
I love that line.
It's very Buddhist.
It's super Buddhist.
It's accepting the suffering of life.
Yeah,
Not being crushed under the karmic wheel.
Speaking of philosophy,
Yeah.
can we talk about nihilism? Which must be very exhausting. Come on, Donnie, there must be nothing. They were threatening castration. They were Nazis, dude? See, I'm just fucking quoting the movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Big Lebowski, by the way, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, for real.
Like, even if, it's not your thing, like, you should have seen it. Go watch it.
Yeah, here's the thing is that, like, the Coen Brothers have, like, such a stacked fucking, like, list of, like, movies that they've made that are, like, good movies that it's really just splitting hairs over, like, these ones just aren't for me,
Yeah.
Like,
that's how I feel about...
I think it's just fair,
Yeah, I think I was having this conversation with someone recently, because I was talking about Burn After Reading, and I was like, yeah, that's, like... probably near the bottom of like my Coen's list, and that movie is incredibly funny.
No, yeah, Burn After Reading is creeping up the list consistently.
I've never seen that one.
It's a really,
and I've always meant to.
You should check it out. I think you'd like it.
It is so good.
But
I have a drinking problem.
God.
You're fucking Mormon. Next to you, everyone has a drinking problem. What the fuck is this? I love John Malkovich is so fucking good in that film. Oh
also,
my god.
the bit where also in the scene where the dude reads the kidnapping letter, the ransom letter.
God.
There's two line deliveries of his
so
that
good.
fucking kill me. One is, "Do you mind if I do a J?"
Yeah.
And the other one is, "That's a bummer, man." That's reading the letter. It's a bummer.
I love the voiceover when he's reading it in his head is so it's the most stoned voice, like, "Please put in bag $100,000. It's like,
But no, I'm glad you brought up the nihilists, because
it plays a big part in this.
Well, and another essay I was reading in The Big Lebowski and Philosophy is kind of talking about this movie in terms of oh man, what's the generalism versus particularism? Generalism being that you have like a strict rule-based ethical system from which you cannot deviate. Walter would be a really good example of this. Does nobody give a shit about the rules?
Yeah, it's all about rules with him.
It's all about rules. That's why he like flips. That's why he bites a man's ear off at the end of the movie.
It's like he's completely inflexible about the plan. No, we can't do that, dude.
Yeah,
He's fucks with our plan.
Walter is a generalist, whereas the nihilists are particularists because they believe in nothing.
We believe in nothing about
and
nothing.
The Big Lebowski, the dude, El Duderino, provides a nice kind of middle road between these things where he does like value-based ethics where, he behaves in a way that, is in line with what makes you, what are good character traits to exemplify, such as he knows that it's the right thing to do to go to his landlord's dance recital,
which is great.
He's a pacifist.
Yes,
but he understands the value of standing up for himself. He's ready to fight the nihilist at the end a little bit, but he's still offering other methods of de-escalating the conflict.
Yeah,
the dude is a nice Zen middle road between these extremes.
He really is. Yeah, and it's so funny. So quite often we talk about the Coen Brothers as being very nihilist filmmakers. I'd say specifically Joe Coen. It's all about the darkest of their movies very much has the message of, I would argue, nothing fucking matters. Like, this is a dark world. Why believe in anything?
Yeah, No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a dark one. It's funny, but the couple of the stories in that one are it's like their whole point is going, what's the fucking point? Right? It's all pointless. And this movie is arguably one of the most pointless, but it's so fucking funny. Because
and I don't think that this is necessarily a nihilist film.
This is not a nihilist film, but what I love about it is that nihilism is in it, and they make fun of it. And it's actually, as you said, it's a very middle-of-the-road Zen sort of thing.
Yeah, and also
it's their feel-good film.
The other thing about Epicurean philosophy is Epicurus placed an immense amount of value on friendships. Mm-hmm. Like, that those were the most important relationships to lead to human flourishing.
Yeah.
Is having close friendships, not romantic relationships, not even necessarily familial relationships, friendships. And this is a movie that does prioritize and value friendship.
Yeah.
Like the Big Lebowski has no one in his fucking life.
Yeah.
He has a wife who fucking hates him. He has this, manservant who just hangs on his every word. And meanwhile, the dude, he has friends who fucking get him into jams, but they'll be there to get him out of it. They are ride or fucking die for the dude.
I'll see you at practice.
Yeah, it's and Walter, he's immediately in on. It's as though someone pissed on his rug.
Yeah,
he is down for the fucking cause of his friend. And I'd like to think that I have some homies who are fucking ride or die for me, as the dude's bowling squad is for him.
Yeah, I love when they go to visit Larry. After they go to visit Larry, who lives behind the In-N-Out. Those good burgers. And that was just a small animal scurrying
there's a cat
through
in our
our
apartment
studio. If you heard that. So after they visit Larry, the dude's car gets absolutely demolished by that angry man.
Oh, well.
After Walter goes in on the Corvette, because this is what happens when you fuck
meet
a stranger in the ass.
Alps.
Right, that. And you just see this great shot of the dude just so kind of dead inside, and then Walter and Donnie are eating burgers in the back, and you see him at the house nailing that board into it, because he's kind of fucking over it. He's a little over it, and he's on the phone with Walter. He's like, no, it's fine. No, I got home. That's how I'm calling you. I got home okay. No, I'm not angry. It's fine. Look, it's just like sometimes you just need to stop being such a fucking asshole. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll see you at practice. And I love it because Walter's on the other side, like, hey, dude, are you okay? Like, I'm sorry about the whole thing. Will I see you? Will I see you at practice, dude? Like, I love their relationship.
Well, the other relationship I love is fucking Walter and Donnie. That shit breaks my goddamn heart by the end. I was fine during my sober watch of The Big Lebowski. When I watched this stoned, I did almost cry at the end.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I said, it's a feel-good Coen Brothers film that has such a lovely, kind-hearted person just die at the end.
But also, like...
Oh, is that what happens at the end?
Yeah, Donnie has a heart attack.
Did you fall asleep this last time when watching the movie?
Yeah.
Well, that's honest.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I honestly have no idea. And to be honest, my sister and I were talking about it this morning, and she was like, I've seen this movie before, but maybe I fell asleep during it last time too. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I fell asleep like the last, like probably like 20 to 30 minutes.
30 to 20 minutes?
30 to 20? Oh God, Alexis.
I don't know, like
bad.
at least 20.
For
It
shame.
had to have been at least 20.
You did bad.
Shame.
You know, I was tired. Okay, I've been doing
Were you
manual
varnishing?
labor, and you know, I really desperately just want to be like a girl, you know, and I'm just having to do work.
Alexis, I'm furious with you, but I'll see you at practice.
Demerit.
But no,
Okay, wait. One thing I did notice in the movie, though, is his jellies. This man is wearing clear 90s popular jellies as shoes, and that is one of the funniest things.
What are jellies?
His jelly sandals.
Oh, his sandals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of a style icon.
You know, to be honest though, like I feel like he made like a really bold choice. I'm sure it was just him throwing things on, but he has this like cardigan and then these like sweatpants, and they're kind of like clashing patterns.
Yep.
But I was like, you know what? You kind of are making it work for you.
Yeah,
though.
it's probably what Maud Lebowski noticed about
the funny
him.
thing is, this latest time watching it, I had, for the first time in my life, had this thought where I thought, Lebowski's kind of attractive.
Of course he is, because he's confident.
Well, it's not.
He's secure.
It's not the confidence; it's the hair.
He's
He has really good hair.
I mean, Bridges has had luscious fucking hair his whole life. Have you ever seen not Blowout, Blown Away?
I don't think so.
Holy shit, the Bridges hair in that is out of
got good
control.
hair.
You see it.
The Bridges
You see
hair.
it in slow mo with an explosion behind it.
Oh, nice.
It's also Tommy Lee Jones is Irish in that movie.
Oh,
it's
okay.
crazy.
Fun.
Is it Blown Away or is it Blow Up?
I don't know.
It's something
One
like
of those.
that.
Is that the one where there was a DVD left over at our house?
Yes.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's quite attractive in a weird way. I've never noticed it before. Maybe I'm just getting older.
Yeah, it's Blown Away that I'm
Blown
thinking
away.
of.
Wow.
Which came out like, I think, 4 years before this?
Interesting. God, this was such, man, 90s movies.
This is
so good.
Probably my favorite movie from the year I was born.
Oh, wow.
The Big Lebowski and I are the same age.
Interesting.
And,
Wow.
I try to absorb more and more of his essence every day.
Yeah,
that's
a good goal.
I'm getting worked up and I need to abide.
So one of my favorite pairings with this film is actually Fargo.
Yeah, I watched that recently as well.
Which I don't know if they did those back to back.
They did.
They did do that back to
I
back.
believe so.
So what's interesting about that, I think they make great double features because one, they're both crime mysteries, basically, in a way. One is a complete farce, and the other one is still very funny, but very, very dark. Also starring Steve Buscemi.
And Peter Stormare.
Exactly. Pancake's house.
Lincolnberry Pancake?
What I love about what the Coen Brothers said was there were jokes on the set that Steve Buscemi's character in Fargo just won't shut the fuck up. Like, that's his whole thing. There's even a scene in Fargo where his friend, the Swedish guy, is like, he's just not
Peter
talking.
Stormare's character.
He's like, yeah, you know what? Fine. I don't have to talk. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk to you. And then it goes like maybe 10 seconds. And he's like, just not talking. Like, he literally can't do it. He has to always be talking. And so they thought, wouldn't it be great is we put Steve Buscemi in our next film, and anytime he tries to say something, another character tells him to shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah, so that's where that idea comes from, is because of Steve Buscemi's character in Fargo, which I think is what makes it a great double feature. You just kind of watch him go from that, kind of menacing even, to this just so kind... I'm the walrus. He's just trying to chime in always at the wrong time. You're like a child that wanders into a middle of a movie. Yeah, it's... poor Donnie.
Well, that brings me back to what I love about Walter and Donnie's relationship, which is, like, it has that thing that I think many very close relationships, often between men, I would say, or at least I can speak to this as friendships between dudes.
Right.
Where one person is just relentlessly fucking abusing the other person all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
Won't let him get a word in edgewise. Shut the fuck up, Donnie. You're out of your element.
Yeah.
But, like, when Donnie has his heart attack at the end of the movie, who's the one who's, like, cradling him?
Yeah,
it's Walter. And who's the one who eulogizes him? It's Walter. Donnie was one of us.
And the funny thing is, when Donnie rolls and he gets a strike, he's like, "Whew, I'm on fire tonight. Mark it, dude." The dude doesn't do anything. But then there's a next scene. He kind of ignores Donnie, but the next scene where he rolls it, and Walter enters when he has a little Pomeranian, where he just goes, "Way to go, Donnie!"
Yeah,
like he's cheering him on. Which I think is great.
I find that, like, friendship so sweet.
Yeah.
And
Or when they're at that weird show of the landlord, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they have good burgers." Like, shut the fuck up, Donnie. And then they get to the end of the conversation, and then he looks at Donnie and goes, "And yes, the one by In-N-Out, and we will get some burgers." He's like, Donnie is the kid.
Yeah.
And he is kind of the verbally abusive dad, but, at the end of the day, he's still the dad.
He loves the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just adore this film. I remember in high school having the realization after watching Lebowski for, I don't know, the umpteenth time, thinking, this, I think, is the perfect film. It's just perfect.
I do really love it.
The screenplay is perfect. Everything about it is just so good. When they spread the ashes at the end and it just blows onto the dude, and just that look through the glasses,
it's so brutal.
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude.
I'm sorry, dude.
What the fuck was the shit about Vietnam?
I'm sorry, dude. You know who's never been bad in a movie ever? John Goodman.
That's so true.
Is this our first time talking about a John Goodman movie?
I think it is.
Holy shit, what a fucking actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's insanely good.
Yeah.
Fucking 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yep.
Just like an insane out of nowhere John Goodman, like elevating what could have been a pretty, like, forgettable movie.
Yep. Oh Brother, We're Out Thou.
Oh Brother, all of his work with the Coens.
Yeah.
Alexis, you brought up Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah, I really like him in that, but also I grew up watching quite a few episodes of Roseanne.
I don't think I've ever seen Roseanne. I know he's on it.
So when I was growing up, we had VHSs that were recorded off of the TV, and there were so many that were just like episodes of Roseanne. I think my sister used to record them. But yeah, I mean, I knew him quite a lot from that. But, I'm trying to think of what other movies.
Well, I just feel like he's a guy who, I think there were certain actors. David Dastmalchian is actually another, like, good example of actors who are very aware of how they read on screen and know how to use their, like, physical attributes to sell a character.
Yeah.
And Goodman just is such a master of like knowing how to use how just like physically fucking big he is to a lot of different ends. Like he can be just like out and out menacing. He can kind of have that appearance and then make you question it, like you do in 10 Cloverfield Lane, where sort of the central game of that movie is trying to figure out if he's actually a threat or if he just looks that way.
Yeah.
Or, you know, he can be incredibly like charming and cuddly and like a big fucking teddy bear.
Yeah.
Like he is a guy who knows how to use what he has been given physically to sell a character.
Not just that though, like his voice acting work are some of the most like iconic characters, because you have Sully from Monsters Inc.
Yeah, that is good.
And then you also have Pacha from The Emperor's New Groove. Is it Pacha? I think it is Pacha. And I think he was in Cars too, but I'm not really a Cars person.
Yeah, I got stuck on the Cars ride this week.
There's a Cars ride?
What?
Yeah, I went to Disneyland with Sloane's family.
Oh, nice.
And I got stuck on...
You went to California Adventure?
Yeah, and I got stuck on the Cars ride. It broke down.
Oh, wow.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. I hated it.
You got ka-chowed.
Let me tell you.
I think that's one of the less cool rides there too.
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but, you know, I got to go to Disneyland for
Did you get
free.
to go on the Incredicoaster though?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't, because Sloane's family doesn't like roller coasters.
See, I can't go with people like that. I have to be able to go on roller coasters.
All right, I'm gonna rope this back in. I do not want to talk about
Rope it on in.
last thing I want to talk about. So what I find what's an interesting thing about the creation of the Big Lebowski, I forgot about this, but I've never seen The Big Sleep.
I tried to watch it this week.
Directed by Howard Hawks.
I was very bored.
Starring Humphrey Bogart and his future wife, right? Yeah, Lauren Bacall. They were married.
Oh, yeah.
So The Big Sleep is a crime film noir that The Big Lebowski is loosely based on. It's kind of it's not.
Is this why Maud has the accent that she has?
I think
It's
so.
kind of like the Katharine Hepburn.
She
thing
sounds
she's
like
doing a
Katharine
little bit,
Hepburn.
Yeah. Lebowski.
Well, clearly.
Vagina.
Rod Johnson.
That is one of my favorite fucking gags, is how Maud like cannot use just one word for something.
For genitalia.
Yeah, well, just like or sex or coitus. Like it's similar kind of to Doc Brown in Back to the Future, where she has to like take the most complicated route to explaining something simple.
Yeah. Fuck, and I also forgot that the guy who plays what is his name? The actor who plays Professor Lupin. Yeah, David
Thewlis.
Thewlis plays Knox Harrington. Which why is this character here? And I'm so happy he is.
Which one is he?
He plays the guy with the
He's
pencil
in
fucking
Maud's
mustache. That's always
apartment
yeah.
house.
Oh my god, that's David Thewlis!
Yes.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've been wondering where he is in that movie. Holy fucking shit!
Yeah. It's like, where the fuck? You got a cleft asshole or something?
That's crazy. Mon, who the fuck is this guy?
It's an Assange and a Benali.
Sorry, you were saying about The Big Sleep.
So The Big Sleep. So this is what I like about Lebowski is it's a part of, I classify it as LA noir.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's 100% LA noir, and it's based on a film noir. And I love that the Coen Brothers saw The Big Sleep and thought, okay, this movie, this deserves a remake. But what if instead of Humphrey Bogart, a detective, private eye at the center of it, it's a fucking dude. It's just
the dude.
It's just
it's
the
someone
dude.
that they know.
Yeah, if they put
this was based on a guy who worked on some of their movies.
Yeah.
It's guy Jeff Jeff Dowd, I believe his name is.
And I bet you one night they were just watching The Big Sleep and were probably just riffing like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if this movie starred Jeff from Work.
Except Jeff goes by the dude.
By the dude.
He genuinely does go
what
by
if
the
this
dude.
movie was just like the dude was that guy and he had to try to figure all this shit out about like this pornographers and there's a kidnapping and there's ransom. And then we get the screenplay of The Big Lebowski. And I love that. I think that is so funny. And that's one of my favorite tropes is when you take a familiar plot or a premise or a genre and you just throw a bunch of morons into that world.
Yeah.
And you just see what happens. Because the Coen Brothers do that with Burn After Reading. Yeah. It's like an espionage crime film, spy movie. But what if everyone in it is a complete
just the stupidest motherfucker on the planet?
Just complete. Everyone's an idiot in their own way.
Osborne Cox.
Yeah. And they do that with Lebowski, and it's just so great. But they're lovable idiots. But everyone is an idiot to a certain degree, except maybe Maude. But
the Lebowski, listen, the dude has some wisdom.
no, he does have some wisdom.
He
but he's
cracks
also,
the case.
But he also props a door up underneath his door handle that the door opens the other way.
Well, listen,
That was funny.
he's got street smarts.
I was literally as he was putting the fucking chair underneath the door, I was like, there's got to be something. I was like, I wonder if it opens the other way, and then it just swung out, and I was like,
there it is.
Yeah.
And I love the look that Jeff Bridges does. He's walking. He's like, yeah, I did that. And he's walking away. And then immediately those two assholes open the door and it just falls out. And he just kind of turns back and goes,
Yeah, I really thought that one was good.
I never noticed that the door opens that way before. And I also love that the blonde dude who in the first scene is like, "Where's the fucking money, shithead?" He's like, "We know, we got the right Lebowski this time, Lebowski. You're not the only moron here."
Oh man,
fuck, it's so good.
I'm glad you brought up The Big Sleep because that was the other movie that I watched this week. I didn't watch The Big Sleep. I tried to watch it, but I was bored.
Did you fall asleep?
No, I turned it off. I was falling asleep.
It's great reviews. It's like a classic.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
I think I might just not be super into Bogey.
Really?
I've never been like wowed by
about the
a Humphrey
Maltese Falcon?
Bogart movie. It's been a long time since I watched it.
You should watch Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
I think that sometimes some movies are really meant to be watched in the theater.
Yeah, I think that would
Like
probably help.
if you're gonna have to watch them,
agree with that.
Because like I feel like when I saw Casablanca for the first time, I saw it at like some like theater thing, where it was like on the big screen, and I watched it. And I was like, oh my god, that was so good! It was incredible. I don't know if I would have been able to sit through that though if I had just watched it at home.
Yeah, I watched Casablanca for the first time in a screenwriting class, and I did like that's definitely my favorite Humphrey Bogart movie I've seen. But we have gotten a long way away from the other movie that I watched,
which is
The Long Goodbye.
Okay,
which is an adaptation of a Raymond Chandler novel, which The Big Sleep also is.
Gotcha.
They're stories about this detective.
Is it the Elliot Gould movie?
Yes, Philip Marlowe is the detective he's playing.
I really want to see that.
I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal, and it kind of exists as like an intermediate zone between like classic noir and The Big Lebowski, because the way they interpret Marlowe in The Long Goodbye, he is kind of a loser. Yeah. He does live, I mean, and, a lot of, like, private detectives live in kind of, like, a shitty apartment. But, like, he does just feel, like, out of place in the world that he is in. And he kind of feels like the wrong man for the job. And, he's kind of a schlub. In the first scene you meet him, he's, like, engaged in a battle of wits with his cat to try to get it to eat a different type of cat food than it normally likes.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know. I find it kind of like an interesting middle ground between a classic noir and Lebowski. But I definitely see how it has so many of those like the way it has kind of this episodic structure where this detective is meeting all of these different characters who some of their stories don't actually have anything to do with the central mystery. Like that sort of structure the Coens definitely just 100% lifted for the Big Lebowski.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, I was very happy that I watched that for this movie.
I'll have to watch.
It's
been on my list
very
for a while.
good.
I want to watch more 70s Elliot Gould stuff.
Elliot Gould, he's the man. Have you seen California Split?
No.
Fucking watch California Split. That's a good ass movie.
I think I've only ever seen him in the Ocean's movies and in the original MASH film.
Another Robert Altman movie.
That's right.
Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould.
That?
Elliot Gould. He was like a kind of 70s sex symbol.
Yeah.
And
In the same way
Really?
that Donald Sutherland was sort of a 70s sex.
Elliot Gould was a better looking
very-
guy than
Very
Sutherland.
He was.
No offense to Sutherland.
Oh, this guy.
Yes.
From the Ocean's movies.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You take a look-
I wonder what he looked like back then.
You're gonna be pleasantly surprised, I think.
He was handsome.
But yeah, what was the? Oh, also real quick, the tenuous Roadhouse connection to this movie.
Okay.
There are two actors who
Okay.
appear in 1989's Roadhouse who appear
Which
in The Big
is?
Lebowski, who are Sam Elliott, who plays the stranger,
Oh, yeah, of course.
and Ben Gazzara, who plays Jackie Treehorn, the porn king. He
yes.
is the main bad guy in
Oh
Roadhouse.
my god! That's one of my. Thank you for reminding me. I think one of my favorite all-time visual gags. This is an all-timer, folks.
Yeah.
When the dude is at Jackie Treehorn's house and he takes a phone call. Jackie Treehorn, he walks over, he takes a phone call. And he's like writing something in a very film noir shot where it's the only time in the movie that they do a zoom. And it zooms in on Jackie Treehorn's hand. He's writing on the notepad. And you see that Lebowski notices, and he's actually doing some detective work. He's actually
like
engaging.
the only time
engaged
where
in
he like looks for a clue.
and Jackie Treehorn rips off the note that he's written, like folds it, and is like, "I'll be right back." And so you see him like do some snooping, like he looks around the corner, and I caught myself like leaning over to like look out into the kitchen to see if Jackie Treehorn was there. And he walks over, takes a pencil, and it's brilliant because if you scribble it, you can see the note that
Yeah,
was
you
written.
can see the last note on the notepad.
And he's scribbling it, and very quickly reveals that he drew a man with a very large erect phallus. And the reaction shot of Jeff Bridges, just such confusion. And then he writes a little bit more, like, is there any left? And then Jackie Treehorn walks back and he rips over the note and he runs over and trying to very nonchalantly look like he's been in that pose the whole time is one of the top 10 comedy moments
Yeah, that's really
ever
fucking
put to
funny.
screen. It's so
You know
good.
what's so funny is like I've laughed so much at you guys pointing out these funny things, and I do think that they're funny, but for some reason I don't laugh at them while I'm watching the movie.
Alexis, give it like a
something
give it
wrong
a
with me.
year.
Yeah.
And return to it
Yes.
is my strong recommendation because I again the first time I watched this movie I was not particularly.
But this is the second time I've
Yeah,
watched
see,
this
that's the
movie.
thing.
it's you know
This is a movie
it's
that
like a
grows
virus
on you. It
it's like a
absolutely
virus.
grows on
It
you.
grows.
It's because, again, I went from it
Okay.
being like, I don't get it. I think it's overrated. It's boring to, I think it's one of the best movies ever made. Like, genuinely.
Also, coming out of musical March, some like
Oh, yeah.
beautiful
The dream sequence.
like the dance sequence.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Big Lebowski by, yeah.
what condition? What condition?
That is such a, so I had the soundtrack to this movie in high school. I would listen to it all the time, and I love that song, and I love that dream sequence. It's so funny. There's multiple dream sequences in this movie that are hilarious.
Yeah.
And shot by Roger Deakins.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about fucking Deakins.
Yeah, and this movie is a really good example of how what I like about Deakins is, of course, you know, he does some beautiful shots, but a compliment that I would pay him that I think he would like to hear because he says it's his goal is to not have a distinctive style. Where he said that I don't want you to watch a movie I've shot and be like, oh yeah, that's a Deakins movie. He thinks the best cinematography kind of disappears, and it just fits the narrative so well. And I think this is a great example because this movie is just so ordinary looking, but it's so well done. The framing is so there's no over the shoulders really. When you're in a conversation, you're in the conversation with them. The dream sequence is shot really, really well. It's clearly done by a master.
The dream sequence is where I'm like, yeah, you fucking guys came up with Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
The POV shot from the bowling ball, I'm like, that belongs in an Evil Dead movie. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I love that the Coens and Raimi are buddies. That makes me very
That's true.
happy.
Yeah, they got the humble beginnings.
Yeah.
They're the executive producers of the first Evil Dead film.
Yeah, and they worked on Crime Wave.
Yeah.
Which is a bad movie.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, also Raimi is the only person who they ever co-wrote a script with. Hudsucker Proxy.
Interesting. You know what?
Good
I
movie.
was actually
seen that.
a cross intersection of this. I was listening to Rian Johnson on the Deacons podcast, and he was talking about that's actually why I knew that they used to direct their own stuff, because he was talking about that on the Deacons podcast.
Nice.
Hell yeah, that's a good podcast. Yeah. Listen to the Deacons podcast.
Hey,
folks.
don't defer credit. What the fuck?
Just
No,
saying.
stay here. Stay on this page.
That's
We have a
us,
lot of episodes.
and then listen
this is
to-
our 80th episode. Listen.
I do,
Listen
but
to
that
us.
show that there is a last thing I'll say about it is a great episode where he's talking to Greg Fraser about the Batman, and Deakins just point blank is like, so you weren't nominated for this, so let's talk about that because I'm angry. Are you angry about that? Because he legit on his own podcast says that my movie did not deserve to get nominated over yours.
I agree. Empire of Light and Empire of Light was boring as fuck.
I agree with it too. But anyways, I absolutely adore The Big Lebowski. I mean, when they go to visit Larry about the homework.
Yeah,
does he still write? Oh no, he's sick, and it's just a shot of him in an iron lung. It's so good.
Wait. You know what was really great last night, though, was the moment where you see Maud for the first time and she's flying over her, painting. And I just hear my sister go, is she naked?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched this with Sloan and she said literally the exact same thing.
Yeah.
She just goes,
Because at first I kind of can't tell.
What's really funny, I've been to art parties in the arts district in LA, and that studio, they nailed that perfectly. I know people that fly around in rafters and shit and just paint because they're fucking weirdos, but it's great.
God love them.
We gotta love them. We gotta love them. But yeah, I fucking adore this film. It's so good. It starts so strong. It ends so strong. The middle bit, very strong middle bit.
Good. That's great, man. Fucking A, man.
Fucking A, man. Perverts, dude. 8-year-olds, dude. No, really. Dude's a pederast.
Dude's a registered sex offender.
Exposed himself to an 8-year-old.
Fucking crazy.
Oh my god. It's so good.
Alexis, any closing thoughts on Lebowski?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it has a lot of things that I think normally I am into in a movie, and maybe someday this movie will be for me. As it is, I really did enjoy hearing you guys rehash all the bits. They are fun to talk about because they're just so. Some of them are really wild.
It's a bizarre movie.
It is a bizarre film. Yeah.
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 Ooh.
But love the Coen Brothers. They do great work. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's maybe the last thing I want to say about this movie is I love that a movie that is this weird and narratively rambling and concerned with Erev Shabbos
Yes.
and just so
I don't drive a car.
just so fucking strange, has such a following and has been so thoroughly accepted into the canon of great comedies that just and not like film people,
Yeah.
but just like anybody
Yeah.
can enjoy. Like this is a culturally significant movie,
Yeah.
and I think that's fucking great. I'm so glad that this found its following.
Yeah, I would say this movie, I think, is what made me fall in love with Los Angeles. Because when I first moved here with the roommate and with you, and I walked into the courtyard of our little apartment complex, it gave me Lebowski vibes, and that's when I realized that I'm excited to live here.
It's part of what I love about our place.
Yeah, it looks
By
like the
way,
Lebowski house.
Mick got us a rug, and it does really tie the room.
It does tie the room together. But
That's so
I
funny.
think that obviously we talked about this is a great stoner film. It absolutely is. But what's great about it is you can watch it completely sober, and it's so fucking good. I don't even think it's amplified if it's stoned. It just changes if you're stoned.
Yeah,
I
I laughed real hard at the car crash when I was a little
It's
high.
so good. This is a masterpiece. I really do think it's a perfect movie, and I think it's one of the best LA films. It captures the city so well. It captures LA types so well. It's so good, and I'm happy that we were able to start Comedy Month off with a fucking banger.
Yeah, it feels nice. It feels
It does.
nice to be reunited with you, Mick.
Yeah.
I feel like we've been a little touch and go for the past few episodes.
It has been
It's
touch
been,
and go.
it's been contentious for like 3
Yeah.
episodes in a row. So, well, that concludes our discussion of the Big Lebowski.
Yes, it does.
Do we have a pick for next week, Alexis? Do you have something that you would like to discuss next week?
Do I?
That's a resounding yes.
Okay, well, I can pick one for next week. We're gonna move from the 90s to the 2000s, 2001 specifically, and we're going to be talking David Wayne's Wet Hot
Hell
American Summer, starring Michael
I've never seen this
Showalter,
movie.
Paul Rudd, Amy
Hell
Poehler,
yeah.
Elizabeth Banks, Bradley Cooper, Ken Marino, and Janine Garofalo.
Gross. You taste like burgers.
You know, this is really good. I've been meaning to see this movie for like a long time.
This is going to be
You
a first
can-
time for you?
Alexis, I'm so excited.
Oh,
wow.
It's you can rent it wherever you rent your movies. It's on our shelf. I
just remembering a scene from the movie and I'm already
I can't wait to talk about it. And if you want to find us, the Film Majors, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Our TikTok is currently down, but it'll be back up. And you can shoot us an email at filmmajorspod@gmail.com. And until next time, strikes and gutters, dude.
Strikes and gutters.